Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Drew Story News podcast. And yeah, I've been gone for a while. I apologize for that. Though I'm not sorry. I mean, I was doing what I needed to do, which was a lot of shadow work. And I really recommend people take the time that they need to do what they need to do, to be healthy, to work on yourself, meditate. And if there's people that don't understand your time that you needed to take for yourself and to be alone and work on yourself, then they weren't meant to be in your life. It's all good. It's just, no negative vibes. It's just people who love you and are meant to be in your life are there for the long haul. And you don't really need to explain yourself too much. They have people who are energetically meant to be around already have a high-minded ability to understand you. People who misunderstand you will misunderstand you because they're in the ego. They're not willing to, accept your shadow. People who are in lower vibrational dimensions, if you will, they want to view the world in terms of villains and heroes, and you're a villain in my story, and you did this to me. That's all ego. We don't have time for that. There's a lot of stuff to do in this world for source players. And, that said, I was dealing with a lot. I was dealing with death and dying. I lost someone that I lost, and I'm in the process of losing people to present tense, people who are dying. And that was new for me. And I'm not talking about old people, extended family who were going to eventually. No, I'm talking about young people who I was very close to. So yeah, that was an experience. With other stuff, I'm not going to go into my business because it's not necessary to do that stuff. I'm going to refrain from talking a lot about my personal life because it's not really a good idea for people to do that. Especially when you're talking about other people. It's best to leave people out of your stories. So I'm going to jump right into it. Just quickly explaining that, I was living life and dealing with life. So, my apologies. I owe many people phone calls and, people have reached out. Thank you. When people noticed I wasn't posting, noticed I wasn't around in social media circles, they were just like, yo, you okay? And I've called some. I need to call more people just to touch base and let them know, hey, I'm alive, all is well. So let's jump right into this. What I'm going to talk about today is mind, regaining the mind, and how to prepare for the new world ahead. Because, as you can probably see, the world is insane right now, and everything is backwards. And there's things that we need to do to prepare for this world that we're in. Case in point, I'm going to use some biblical references, but I'm not speaking from a Judeo-Christian standpoint. There's many stories in the Bible that are not literal, and people are still having trouble understanding that. They're allegorical, they're metaphorical, they're meant to teach you something, and it's coded language. This is all ancient coded language. It's a lot of it is plagiarized, comes from other places, but much of it is, decipherable to get the truth out of it. And, there's references to the devil. There's no pitchforked red man. No. Metaphorically speaking, there's references to the devil or Satan devouring souls. He's going to devour as many souls as possible before his termination. And that's what we're living through right now in a metaphorical sense. There's a verse, 1 Peter 5-8, that talks about the devil or Satan devouring souls. We're living through that now. When you see the agendas that are going on, the sexual confusion, the racism that's on the rise. Racism is a subject that a lot of people avoid, but it has very much to do with your spiritual growth. You came here as, born into a black lineage or as a white person. You still have to play your role to be the best version of yourself. And where are you going to go? Are you going to do what's right? Are you going to live the best version of yourself? Or are you going to fall into the cult of white supremacy and lose your soul? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. So there's a lot of things going on in the world. And you see this push for everything that is good is made bad, and vice versa. Everything that is bad is good in this society. Everything is backwards. So what we need to do as source players is really know how to keep mind intact. All is mind. Your perspective, what you think, how you think is so valuable to the system. That's why they go out of their way to control you. They want to get you off of your path, so that they control you, so that they can weaken you. This is what all the agendas are for. Everything that is mainstream, it wasn't like this when I was growing up. It's just peaked. Everything that is mainstream, almost everything that's mainstream is wrong. It's lies. Everything is lies, and it's so overt. Medicine and health information is lies. These did not work, and the verdict is in. They never did. And people like myself were telling you from day one.
Well, a warm welcome to today's talk. And it turns out that these masks we wore for such a long time are actually completely useless, as indeed are these paper ones that we also wore for a long time. So they don't seem to do anything at all, according to the data. And as well as that, they make your glasses steam up. Now, welcome. It's Thursday, the 2nd of March, 2023 today. Now, I want to apologise for advocating for the use of masks for pretty well all of the end of 2020 and pretty well all of 2021. We changed our position on this channel on the 19th of February 2022. So for advocating masks before that, my apologies, I was wrong. Or at least it's certainly not supported by the data. So let's look at the author's conclusions of this study here. I just want to read these out. This is about the Cochrane review, I will show you in a minute. The pooled results of randomized controlled trials did not show a clear reduction in respiratory viral infections with the use of medical surgical masks. There were no clear differences between the use of medical surgical masks compared to the N95P2 masks either. These respirators in healthcare workers made essentially no difference when used in routine care to reduce the spread of viral infection. So there we go. That is the author's conclusion. This is the paper here, and it is a very comprehensive Cochrane review. It's available freely. It's a very comprehensive piece of work. There's a plain language summary, there's an ordinary abstract, and there's a huge amount of detail there, citing in great detail all of the literature. It's a pretty well a day's work to read it, actually, but it's all there. So what is it telling us and why we were wrong? We'll come to that. Winston was wrong as well, but he only does what I tell him, so it's not his fault. All that time, and they weren't really doing anything at all.
These were lies. It was about an agenda, to pull as many people as possible into a new world order where they were going to control you. They were going to decide who and who can't travel, who can't eat. They were going to hold you to this obligation, societal obligation, making you feel, gaslighting you, making you feel that you needed to do this in order to be healthy, when it was lies. All of it. They lied to you about everything. And I think everyone knows that at this point. And there's no gratification in running around doing an I told you so lap, even though I knew, the writing's on the wall. All these deaths, and you still see people who are cognitively challenged. You still see people religiously wearing these, they're done. They're done. There's nothing you can do with these people. And there was a meme that went around. If you're still wearing in 2023, you're done. You're not ready for what's next. You cannot vibrationally ascend when your mind is captured. They have you. Your whole belief system, not realizing that, when you walk around like that, you're in rebellion against your maker, because it's an act of rebellion that you don't know, because most people don't know occult things. Everything that they tell you is wrong. Dwayne Wade, he just received an award because he's raising a trans child. Wrong. Child abuse. Normalizing confusion. Normalizing this gender dysphoria. They're giving it an award, and there's a reason for that. This is such a terrible situation. This is such a satanic agenda, and it is. And I'll explain what I mean by satanic. There's an agenda behind this, and it's such an ugly story that they're trying to whitewash as something, valorous and commendable. This is the times that we're in. These agendas and these groups are dangerous. They're dangerous, and this is not against anyone in the LGBTQ plus community, not at all. And this is not against women, of course not. But I'd probably be the true sense of the word feminist, but not this stuff. These groups that are acting on behalf of women and the LGBTQ plus community are fulfilling satanic agendas, and I'll explain. But let's just talk about how bad this story is. First of all, Gabrielle Union and her horrible acting. She was turning up and acting hostile and just giving a babbling speech, nonsensical speech. I don't know what she was saying. But here's the takeaways. She's not Zaya's mother. She's not the child's mother. So she has no place to be speaking anywhere. So why she's up there, nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's her role to play. The real mother of the child, the boy, is against this agenda. She knows that they're exploiting him. She knows that this is a cash grab. This is an agenda. And she's been fighting Dwayne Wade in court over this. And mainstream media that pretends to be for women and, black women. And, well, they're shutting her up because she's not obeying the agenda. Get out of here. Even though she is the child's mother. They don't want her to speak. They want to shush her and get her out of here and have Gabrielle Union play the role of the mom and Dwayne Wade parade this child around that like they're heroic. And there's agendas within agendas. I can't sit here and possibly explain all the agendas. One of the main agendas is they're attacking unity. They want you confused. They want everybody confused. And they're not really going after the adults. They're going after the children. That's why they're having, drag reading, story reading hours. That's why they're convincing they're taking rights and power away from parents and empowering children. Children can't smoke. Children can't drink. Children can't drive, but they can chop off their penis. You're living in a backwards world of insanity. It's demonic activity at a heightened level that we haven't seen in a long time. This is satanic. And what they want to do is there's an agenda for sexual confusion. They want you mixed in. Like I said, once again, this is not an attack against homosexual people. So please understand that. And you got to have tough skin in this climate. Otherwise, you're not going to last. You're going to just melt like a snowflake because the truth is going to come out. It's going to sound harsh, like it's offensive. George Orwell, timeless statement, said that. This is just facts. But there is an agenda to push, homosexuality, even amongst those who are not homosexual. They're trying to promote it. They're trying to make it cool. They're trying to sell it to children. They're trying to, recruit children early who may not have been LGBTQ plus to consider being LGBTQ plus. They're trying to push this agenda. And the reason why they want to do that is to keep you energetically out of balance. This is occult stuff. They want to, the sexual energy is very powerful. And when it's warped and out of balance, there's many things that happen here. It's a chasm that they can weave through, and they can dominate people. They can dominate society. When society's confused and they have you divided, they know how to keep white people obsessed with black people. They keep men fighting with women, and everyone's fighting, and they even have black people fighting each other. There's a huge instigated back and forth between black Americans and black people from the diaspora, people from Haiti, Africa, Jamaica. Like, you really think that this was organic? Keeping you divided so that you don't ever access your power. You can be a fool, which is what most people choose, or you can rise up and wake up out of the matrix and the programs that they have people locked in, because it's alluring. The division is alluring to shout your banner, shout your people. It's alluring for white supremacist cult groups to, yeah, I'm white, and there's an allure to the darkness, to feel like you're part of this group, so that you don't unite. That's what they want. They want everyone fighting each other, so that you never see who the real oppressors are. You never see what their real agendas are. Let me explain some of the agendas. They want to dominate people. They want you weak. They want people who are not having children. They want people who are not creating traditional nuclear families, because they know that is when people are the most powerful, when children grow up in homes with the man in the home. There's many studies that show you that a man in the home produces better results all across the board, even when you take away the woman. True story. I'm not mansplaining anything. I'm not that. They've done studies to determine that kids are better off with a man in the home, with or without mom. Facts. So they want the man. The man provides a certain amount. Good fathers. Not all men are good fathers, but good fathers provide a certain energy, a certain protection in the home that is needed. They want to thwart that. They don't want nuclear families. They don't want a man and a wife producing a child, and that child growing up with, a man and a woman and a healthy nuclear family. They want confusion, because a confused society is easily controlled, manipulated, and dominated. The women don't have protection. The children don't have protection. You can dice them up. They want you confused. They want you confused so that they control you. They want everyone fighting each other. They want races fighting each other. They want people within the same race fighting each other, which is exactly what's happening on Twitter all day. I personally want no part in it. That's why I kind of back away, because people are just lost. You can't help them now. I want no part in the back and forth and the snipping at each other. They know that they can control you. Another agenda. Do you know how much money they make off of this confusion? You know how much money they make off of racism? You know how much money in selling it? You know how much money they make off of children with gender dysphoria when they program them to be trans? They are going to be beholden to hormones and surgeries and things for the rest of their lives. You know how much money the pharmaceutical industry makes off of one confused child? They're running agendas within agendas, and it's always about money. It's always about control. And you have these well-intentioned people not understanding. They just think, oh, it's acceptance. Do you realize that they have think tanks? They have psychological think tanks studying human behavior, and they know how to manipulate human behavior. They've been studying it for decades. How can we control people? How can we appeal to their sensibilities? How can we appeal to their nature? And I believe most people are innately good. They exploit that. And they have these demonic ways to make you think what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong. And they have this way of making people think that, supporting these confused children is to support their mutilation and their deviance from reality, to support that and normalize that, when that nothing could be further from the truth. That is not good. And it's going to come with a bang. It's going to collapse. Eventually, the systems, all of this is going to collapse. It's going to be bad. It's going to be epic. But not something to, it's hard to explain. It's not something to worry about. I wouldn't fall into the fear vibration, because it's what's needed. It needs to happen. Society needs to come to a crashing halt, because all of this has to come to an end. You're watching people fall into statism, where they can't think for themselves. I have a friend with a daughter who, they're threatening with police, like an 11-year-old child in school. Like, they're threatening. They don't know how to think on their own. Educators are so dumb now. They don't know how to deal with kids and communicate with kids. They feel like they're just brainless. They have to call the police on children. We're falling into statism, where people cannot govern themselves without the state. They don't function correctly. We're dealing with a lot of things, and what eventually is going to happen is that many of us are going to have to separate from this society that can't function correctly, this society that doesn't know what truth is, this society that doesn't know that there's two genders, this society that doesn't vibrate with truth. They're programmed, and they're dying spiritually because they're lost, and they're confused, and they're controllable. They're easily controlled, and we need to separate from that. We need to back away from that energy, because these people are lost. There are laws, and we're living in a godless society. And again, I don't mean that from a spiritual, like a Christian perspective. I mean that from a spiritual perspective. When I say godless, I mean people don't know that we live in a binary system of universal law, of karma, of things that are just laws that we vibrate in. And if you vibrate against it, you can call it God, you can call it nature, you can call it whatever you want. If you are against the flow, that binary flow of nature, you will have a satanic existence. This is what is being pushed. Everything, the purpose of everything is creation and evolution. And it's beautiful. It's magical. And there's a binary system of the masculine, the feminine, the yin, the yang, positive, negative. It's a binary system that is perfect as is. And when the man impregnates the sperm, when a man impregnates the woman, sorry, long day, the sperm travels, and the male's sperm travels and hits the female's eggs, and then magic happens, and then the next thing happens, and then a child is conceived, and then the next thing happens, and that's what life is. It's about evolution. It's about growth. It's about ascending. That is God in action. That is what is. That is what is natural. Now, when you have a compromised existence, when you're making little girls think that they can be little boys and vice versa, that is a satanic agenda that goes against the flow of what is, that goes against the flow of nature. And the problem that we have here is that, a lot of religious groups know some of the truth, but they don't know how to speak truth, ancient wisdom, because they're programmed to. They're kind of there, but not quite. And so they come with biblical text, and they don't know how to reach or speak to the masses. And so they fight with the LGBTQ plus communities, the trans communities. They fight because the LGBTQ plus, they know that they're wrong. Don't come at me with your version of God and ancient Bible verses. And they're right. They're right. That's not how you fight this. But what they mean to say it's about energy and flowing balanced with this universe. And when you're out of balance, you're marked for extinction. When you're living with your own version of reality, when you won't accept, what you're born as, you're marked for extinction. Anything that goes against that model for growth, creation, evolution, ascension, it's the opposite. You're here to destroy. You're here to live a satanic existence. It's the opposite of life. When you mutilate, when you let these children, these innocent children who trust adult presence in their life, maybe school, teachers, when you let these adults in their life lie, tell them demonic lies because the system has agendas and plans for them, and they believe that they can change their gender, their sex, and you let these people chop themselves up and mutilate themselves and switch genders, and I feel like this and I feel like that, when you let them make up pronouns and pluralize. I have an English degree, by the way, and this is nothing short of insanity to refer to me in the plural sense or the female sense. Like, what are we doing? What are we really doing? It's madness, and it's organized madness with an agenda in mind, and it's satanic. It's satanic. It's anti-life. It's anti-nature. It's anti-God. Whatever your God or whomever your God is does it support life? Does it support growth? Does it support creation? Does it support evolution? Does it support ascension? No. It's here to kill, destroy. It's death. It's satanic. It's the opposite of death. And it's causing confusion. It's causing division. And it's what they want. They want less people on the planet. Make no mistake. They want less families, because that's where human beings are they thrive the most, and they know that, and they're the healthiest, and they're the most protected. They want to eliminate that. They don't want children growing up protected and healthy. They want them weak. They want them confused. They want them manipulatable, because you can program these weak people. And you can farm them. You can make money off them. You can get them to take hormones for the rest of their lives. You can get them to do things. You can conquer these people. You can own these people. You can just turn these people inside out. Use them for what you need them to. They only want a certain number of people on the planet, and we're all not going to make it. I'm fine with that. It's just I'm coming from the light. I want to help as many people as possible, but I know most people are not ready to listen. I know most people won't listen. I'm fine with that too. Message of truth is not for everybody, so you have people walking around forcing their truth. They're walking around walking with these things, and like, listen, you don't need that. You don't need that. What else? And it's just an example of what else are they going to get you with? If they got you to believe that, what else are they going to get you with? This is why I fought things that were a little bit more, of the world celebrities. Bill Cosby was one of the, most things I was known for. Like, they got most people to believe that. That lets you know how clueless society is. What else are they doing to people that they don't know? Oh, there's lots of things. There's lots of things in the food. There's lots of things in the water. There's lots of things in the air that are causing these anomalies that they are trying to mainstream as normal, side by side with, nuclear, traditional, heterosexual existences. They're trying to pump the water with drugs, pump TV shows and movies with programming. They want to emasculate men. They want to masculinize, women. And they want to just mess with gender roles and program children and confuse because it is part of an agenda. You either know or you don't. And when you know, all is mine. When you know, you just become a light in this world that is needed. You stop playing the Matrix game. And the reason why they're going so hard, because they know once a certain amount of us just wake up, they're done. That's it. They lost. And they're scared to death of that. They're scared to death of too many people waking up at the same time. That's why they're coming hard. That's why they're doing so many things. That's why we're even having these very stupid conversations. What is a woman? That's, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you told people what we would be discussing today, it'd be hard to believe. But that's how desperate they are. They want to confuse people so bad because they don't want you to tap into your power. They don't want you to lock arms with people who maybe you don't agree with, maybe you don't look like. They don't want you to lock arm in arms and take back your power and turn the system up on its head. They want to drug you up. And it's about the principle. The government said, you know what? You don't know what this is. We just whipped this up, but trust us, take it. You have autonomy over your body. They said, no, you don't. This is your obligation. We made this crap, this toxic crap. You don't know what's in it. We said, take it. And they came at you in different stages, right? They came at you in different stages. They used psychological tactics. First, they used, the Hegelian dialect, where it's just like the problem was this world pandemic. And they lied and, skewed numbers. They did all these things. But they produced fear. They pumped fear in the media. They pumped fear. And that fear was the reaction they wanted so that they can come out with the synthesis and the solution. That solution was that. And so they got a bunch of people right off the rip. That didn't work because they didn't get everybody. So then they started to change their tone and they started to bribe and, throwing a lot of bribes and, bonuses and Twinkies and donuts. It was madness. And I brought in some other groups of people, but not everybody. And then finally, they kept changing their tone all the way to tyranny. Now you can't go to work. You can't try. We're firing you. They went straight to tyranny. And I should have told everybody what was really going on. They showed their ass teeth. That should have been enough for society to flip the table over and say, no, we're not doing this. But a lot of people folded because a lot of people are they're in their fear vibration. And hey, it is what it is. They're meant to be servants in this realm, slaves, and they don't want to rescue themselves. And they just said, well, I want life to be easy. So there's my integrity and my principles. I'll bend over. Not me, and that's not everybody. And I don't want to insult people. I have to keep catching myself because I don't want to be coming off obnoxious. I understand that there's lots of people in the different circumstances and different stages of awareness. For example, there's a guy, Dan Bongino, that he regrets. There's so many people who regret it. They did it, but at the moment they weren't thinking clearly, or their friend or their health professional friend convinced them to do it, because there was a lot of that. And a lot of people weren't prepared for the time that we're living in. It was unprecedented, where the professionals were the ones to watch out for, because they were the useful idiots. They were the protectors of the status quo. They were the educated class that was brainwashed the most. And this was not a question of expertise. This was actually spiritual. How much common sense do you have? With all your 7 degrees, do you have any common sense? No, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them were indoctrinated, and they have egg on their face. Now they don't want to admit. There's a lot of people who are still cognitively stuck because they don't want to admit that they were wrong, or that they were on the wrong side of history. When you got to drop the ego. People like me, I'm not here to point in people's face. Aha, I told you. Nah, I'm not about that energy either. It's about knowing what the truth is. And even if you learned it at a late stage, drop your ego and just get right and support the right side, no matter when you came to know the truth. Some people will never know the truth because their ego's too much in their way. So they can't turn around. They can't change their perspective because they're in cognitive bias. They're dealing with cognitive dissonance. They're just dealing with a lot of psychological stuff going on. So what do we do moving forward? This was not meant to be a long video. This is not a video that I had much. I just really needed to come back and, come back online and just first and foremost tell people I'm alive, and then share some of the things that I will be talking about down the line. And moving forward, what do we do? Rescue your mind. Know that you can no longer, it's never been like this before. This is a very unprecedented time where, back in the days, like in the 1960s and 70s, there was a lot of celebrities that used to be cool and they used to fight the system. John Lennon, Marlon Brando, they used to make statements and they were like on the right side of history. Now, a lot of these celebrities I don't know what they're doing to them. I think they're under MK Ultra mind control. A lot of them are selling out. There's a lot of people who just completely sold out. Let's watch a few.
Now, as a filmmaker, do you support mandatory vaccines on film sets?
I support mandatory vaccines, period. I think every company should do it. Listen, I don't care. To me, it's really
sure the better. Got it?
Have you been writing stuff? What have you been doing during the pandemic?
I've been just getting vaccines, Ryan. I just, every day I get a new one.
Are you fully vaxxed now?
I got Moderna, I got the Pfizer, they make Viagra, so that's good.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I remember back in the I wasn't there, but there was in the 1970s, there was the swine flu scare. And you saw the treacherous, demonic, evil ways the pharmaceutical industry tried to push the drugs onto the people. And they would fake celebrity endorsements, and celebrities themselves spoke out against it. I never endorsed this. Well, now they got them. Something happened. They worked many years to perfect their demonic activity. This industry is a criminal enterprise, and people have to wake up to realize that this is a criminal operation, and to trust it is foolish. You have to, people need to wake up and resist this system. And so before I keep going on and on and on, because I know I've been gone a while and I have just so much that I want to dump out, I want to switch and keep it positive. What do we do moving forward? Well, all is mine. Knowing is half the battle. And I will say that over and over again because it's such a perfect statement. Knowing is half the battle. There's a lot of people out there who are doomed and damned because they don't know. They don't know. They don't know that there are planned agendas to corrupt the children. So they just think, oh, the system is good and they're helping the kids who are feeling different and feeling this way. I need to support this. I need to support my trans child. I need to do. When you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's really going on, you're doomed. You're damned. They got you. So knowing is half the battle. And how do you know? You rescue your mind. You question. You get your critical mind intact. When you don't use a muscle, a friend said this once in her one of her videos. When you don't use a muscle, what happens? It atrophies. Well, what do you think happens with the brain? When you live in a whole system that's meant to manipulate, control, tell you what to believe. Your critical thinking skills never get tested. You never get challenged. So your mind, parts of your mind, atrophies to a certain extent. People don't know how to think critically. They just sit there and accept what they're told on television. And it's all across the board about so many things. They don't challenge the system. They don't challenge what they believe. I believe nothing. I know what I know. There's a difference between belief and knowing. Believing and knowing. And people act like believing stuff is like knowing stuff, but it's not. Well, I believe this. I believe Jabs work. I believe Cosby's guilty. Or what do you know? You know nothing. And that's the beginning of learning something. Before you get to one, before you get to the number one, you have to first have zero. You can't have, if you have negative 16,000, you don't even have zero yet. You have to unlearn all the negative, the wrong things. You're in the negative. When you think that masks and these things do this, and you think you have all this negative, wrong things, you have to shed that and know that this system is corrupt. And once you finally shed all these untruths, call them negative numbers, then you finally get to zero, which is nothing. I know nothing. Then you can start adding things that you know. 1, 2, I know that this is true. I know that that is true. Then you can get to the positive once you get rid of the negative. People have to unlearn and regain the mind. And regaining the mind is done through, meditation, questioning, asking the right questions, and just really getting your mind back. And when you get your mind back, you will know that the system is corrupt. You will know the tricks and the schemes that they have. And knowing is half the battle. And then you can begin to fight on the right side of history. Getting your mind back is one of the most powerful things you can do in this climate where there's so much pressure to do the wrong thing. Lastly, I will say that a lot of things have been happening, and I want to encourage people to live their life to the fullest. Enjoy the people that you have in your life right now. Express your love to the people who are around you that you do love. Tell them, let them know, and don't take life for granted. I see a lot of people who are wasting their lives being negative, complaining. This person wants a husband so bad that she's ruining her life, not enjoying the simple things. There's another person holding people to standards that are just stupid. Expectations, throwing projections and expectations on people instead of enjoying them, or just respecting the fact, hey, I don't really know this person. I have to just release this person because they just have a negative mind, a negative way of thinking. A person that was hospitalized, and there's a whole story. Once I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do, which is talk about people. But people are locked in their projections and their assumptions and their judgment that's negative. Strive to be high-minded and surround yourself with other high-minded people, because you're going to be rewarded for that. Don't be judgmental. Don't waste life being negative and dark. Enjoy life. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your loved ones. Go see them. Go visit them. Call them. And just really appreciate the time that you have left. And really spend that time being the best version of yourself. And just enjoy your day. That's it. I'm going to do that with the rest of the night that I have left. So, I'm going to step out and go to the beach. So, guys, you do the same. All right. Until the next one, guys, be well.